Welcome at lesson number 2. Here we're going to speak about. Thanks for being here. So just a small recap of last week. Last week we spoke about the center of mass and center of gravity, and with the 3 degrees of freedom. This week we're going to speak about the third as well, but now a small recap about number 1 and 2. So we have 2 degrees of freedom, and we have a vertical center of gravity. It's taken from the keel. It's this length from the keel, and we have the longitudinal one. That's the one we use for calculating the trim of the ship. And it is, the reference is the rudder stock, frame number 0. There's the aft perpendicular, and the distance is taken from there. So we have a third one, and that's the transverse center of gravity, and you'll see it later on. The remaining on board list, I showed you the stability program last week. Every time we start a new stability condition, we need to make sure that all tanks are updated, and usually it's done with a list, and this list is regularly called remaining on board list, but it needs to be made up by the chief engineer after the main engine is stopped. He's going to sound all the tanks where there are consumables, fresh water, diesel oil, lubrication oil, heavy fuel oil. Most likely there's going to be less inside of these tanks than compared to the last remaining on board list, so you need to update it so that it's correctly in the stability condition in the stability program. And you do it by sounding with sounding tape. So during discharging of cargo, the preparation of the new voyage already begins. We inspect and make inventarizations on multiple topics, and one of them is lashing gear. It's not only done prior to loading, but this is a continuous process. You need to make sure that you have enough lashing gear on board, and that the lashing gear is in good shape, good condition. For example, these turnbuckles, there's a thread, and this thread needs to be lubricated. And it's a continuous process to maintain this item, the lashing gear. Bilge well systems. Before loading, you need to test the bilge wells in the cargo hold, and you need to make sure that in case a fluid leaks in the hold, and this fluid ends up to the lowest point of the hold. Usually if we have stern to the aft, it comes to the aft bilges. The bilge well fills up with fluid, and then this floater will make an alarm, and then this alarm will sound in the engine room, and one of the engineers can have a look at the bilge well, which fluid is there, and if needed, the fluid will be pumped away to a tank or to the sea. There's some environmental regulations concerning this, but we do that later on. The bilge well needs to be checked, and if we have grain or bulk cargo, there needs to be a covering plate so that the bilge well doesn't fill up with the cargo. Very important. So a question to be asked is, are the cargo hold hatches and other water or weather-tight doors in good shape and watertight or weather-tight as designed? It needs to be inspected, and for example, the hatch covers, you need to have a glimpse at the hatch cover rubbers, the drainage systems for green water and rainwater. Is it clean and accessible as designed? Here the hatches of a big bulk carrier, and here you see the sliding pads and the rubbers. It all needs to be in good shape, and regularly it needs to be inspected, and usually it's done when the holds are open, otherwise it's difficult, of course. So it's regularly done when doing a new trip, a new voyage. So the cargo hold lights and the cargo hold ventilation, is it working as designed? Maybe some bulbs of the lights need to be replaced. The crane's in good shape, planned maintenance executed as done. The cargo hold fire detection system, I will speak a bit later about it during the ordinary lessons. It needs to be tested, fit for duty. When we're fully discharged, the default setting usually is that we make the cargo hold shovel clean, in Dutch bezemschoon. As you see in the picture, we start first with shoveling, brooming the tank top and take away as much cargo residue as possible by brooming. That's it, and please check the other clips.